Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome once again to another edition of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show. I, of course, am Mr. Warren Hayes, and this is the SmackDown Live recap show for the SmackDown Live edition of May 7, 2019. This is night two of the wild card rule, which we're all really excited about. That is absolutely fantastic. But you know what? Before we get into all of that, I want to say something very important. I am very thankful that you are listening right now, that you're tuning in, that you're here alongside a huge, beautiful bunch of luminaries who are here in the live chat because yes, folks, we have friends of the show here this evening joining me live on youtube.com/Mr. Warren Hayes, because that's what I do. I do this show live, in case you didn't know, or at least the SmackDown recap. I do it every Tuesday night at 10:30 p.m. Eastern. And people come in to join in the chat, give me some material to talk about as we're going along as well, such as Kristen Ashley, Blaine Mendoza, the world's most handsome mod, Brian Payne, Tim Travers is here as well, Robert Larry, Maven why am I messing up her name? Maven Glean, JPQ is in the house as well. And they're just to name a few, right? Because we have fantastic people. And you know what? It's the good thing is that there's always fantastic people in the chat here tonight. And if you guys watching live want to toss this link out and try to get more people in here, that'd be fantastic. And if you also want to help out, why don't you give it a thumbs up? That always helps. YouTube likes the thumbs up. It likes knowing which videos to like, because YouTube is a machine. Machines are dumb, and you're supposed to tell them, well, you should like this. And YouTube goes, okay, I'll like it. If you like it, then I'll have other people like it as well. That's how it works. But maybe you're not watching this. Maybe you're not watching this. Maybe you're alone, parked in a car somewhere, under a street lamp, waiting for something to happen. And in the meantime, you're, as illicit as it may be, or not, could be completely legitimate. You never know. And maybe you're just listening to the Mr. Warren Hayes Show on your favorite podcast application. That's something you can do, because the Mr. Warren Hayes Show is available on all podcast applications, just to name a few: Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Podbean, Podcoin, Himalaya, just to sprinkle those. Just like that. Can you guys hear this? That's pretty cool. See, I honestly think at this point, I really think that if the wrestling thing doesn't work out, I'm just going to move on to ASMR and have people subscribe to my channel to hear me do this. I think there's a future in that. So yeah, if you're listening to this on a podcast app, there's reviews, there's likes, there's subscriptions, there's follows. You can do all of that. You can do absolutely all of that, and that also helps the show. It helps the Mr. Warren Hayes Show get out there and reach more people, touch more people, feel more people. And because I like to reach out. I like to reach out and make myself available to people. And another way that I do this is by doing my 205 Live NXT UK recap show over on Fightful Select, which will be tomorrow evening, Wednesday night at 10 p.m. Eastern. I sit down for an hour and I talk about 3 fantastic hours of WWE programming. They're consistent. It's good. It's fun stuff. And I do it on Fightful's premium service, Fightful Select, which is also a great way to support Fightful and all the good work that Sean Ross Sapp does. And if you become a member, you get a whole bunch of extra content. You get exclusive content. You get previews. You get sneak peeks. You get Q&A sessions with Sean, where you can ask him all the questions you like. So So, that's good stuff. That's really, really good stuff. And I'm there every Wednesday night, and I do it live as well. So if you come in, you join, we can have a chit chat as well. We can have another good time. So be sure to do that. That's tomorrow night. Another little programming note, on Thursday evening, I will be joining the Blazer Bros, Anthony Suter and John Nathan Pilquist, or also known as JPQ. We're going to be on the Smart to Death podcast live on Thursday evening. We're going back to the New Japan well, just like we did a few weeks ago for the what tournament was it? For the New Japan Cup. You have so many tournaments, I just lose count. We're going to be doing another bracketology special, Anthony, John, and I. And we're going to be doing that live on the Smart to Death YouTube channel. So subscribe there, youtube.com/smark2death. 8 p.m. Eastern this Thursday. The three of us, the Blazer Bros, back in action. Going to break down the brackets of the Best of the Super Juniors tournament, which I'm really looking forward to this year. I'm really, really excited about it. I think the only way it could get more exciting is if Hiromu showed up, but you know what? We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that on Thursday, so be sure you're there. That'll be fantastic. And I talked about it last night. I'm going to talk about it again. And if you're watching this live, you're probably seeing right here the occasional right here in the slideshow. You've probably seen Bell to Bells pop up on your screen. You may be asking, what is this Bell to Bells thing? Well, it's a website called belltobells.com. And not only is it a website, even more important than that, because there are tons of websites, but this one is special because it is a women's wrestling website. It's news coverage, opinions, all dedicated to women's wrestling. And it is Kristen Ashley who started this up. It is her pet passion project. She's putting a whole lot of effort and investment into this to create the best possible site for women's wrestling coverage online. She's assembled an extremely impressive staff of folks, and the articles are going to start. Rolling out. I'm going to be involved in there as well. I'm going to be doing some extra content. Got some other people in there as well to do some video content, audio content. There's going to be some exclusive podcasts there as well. Go check it out. It's BELLTOBELLES.com. And by the way, subscribe to the Twitter. Same spelling, Bell to Bells, over on Twitter. That's what you should do if you want to stay abreast of that. There's no reason why you shouldn't. No reason why you should not stay right on top of things, because having a pet passion project is important. And it's something that you should latch on to. And something you should support and love and care and hug. All that stuff. Want to say hi to Joe Anthony, who just jumped into the chat as well. Joe Anthony is a contributor there. Want to say hello to Colton, Blue Riot, who is in here just as well. That's fantastic. I'm glad to see the friends of the show. It's always a good time. It's hot in here. This environment will pop up a couple of more times, and I mentioned it briefly yesterday. And for those of you who are watching, you know exactly what I'm talking about. This isn't my usual setup. My usual setup is going to be changing. Different things are going to be happening, but the important thing isn't the decor. It isn't the setup. It isn't where Warren streams. It's what Warren streams. I was thinking of all the W's, like who Warren streams. No, that doesn't make sense. Why Warren streams? Well, It's what I stream about. And tonight, we are streaming about, talking about, podcasting about, discussing nothing else than SmackDown Live that started off tonight with AJ Styles taking advantage of that wild card rule. God. And I'm not planning on getting in on this. I'm not planning on getting excited about it. Not tonight. But you never know. Sometimes I have a tendency to go off on a tangent, right? You guys know what to expect. You've listened to this before. Or if not, well, welcome. Get ready. You might be surprised. So basically, AJ Styles comes out, and you remember last night AJ says, when he told Vince McMahon, he said, I might just go over to SmackDown and bring two of my friends. I was really thinking, but this was wishful thinking, but I really thought, wouldn't it be cool if AJ just popped up on SmackDown with Gallows and Anderson, just pop up one night, just have the club, just one night, have a little Bullet Club reunion. One night, but no, we can't have nice things. We just can't have nice things. So he comes to the ring and he has a microphone and he says, "Oh God, how I've missed you, SmackDown Live." And I'm like, "Oh God, AJ, you've been gone 3 weeks. You've been gone 3 weeks. AJ, how can you be missing SmackDown Live all that much?" Anyway, 4 maybe? At the most 4 weeks. He basically says that he wanted to be first tonight of the Raw guys to sneak on to SmackDown, and blobby bloop bloop. Sami Zayn comes out soon thereafter. He says that he doesn't want to be here in Louisville, Kentucky on his day off. But he says otherwise no one would come out here to call out AJ on his toxic ego. His toxic ego. They banter a little bit. Then Kofi Kingston comes out accompanied by Xavier Woods. And Kofi comes out and tells AJ that he doesn't belong here anymore. AJ says that he's just here to return the favor for what happened last night. Sammy interrupts Kofi Kingston and from challenging AJ Styles. He sort of felt the build going to this and he's like, "Look, Kofi, are you really going to do this? Because the audience doesn't really care for you, Kofi. They don't have your best interests at heart. You don't go over here and challenging AJ Styles just for your pleasure, your convenience, or for their pleasure and their convenience. It's not worth it." Besides, Sammy says that he deserves a championship shot himself. And Kofi says that he's a fighting champion and that he will put it up against either of them two. A little later on, actually right after the commercial that we cut to, we learn that Shane McMahon is making the match a triple threat. Kofi Kingston, AJ Styles, and Sami Zayn for the WWE champion in the main event of SmackDown Live. I would like there to be a wild card rule to just in regards to openings of WWE main roster shows. I'd like some weeks to just there be a mix, just to mix things up, that some weeks we start with a segment, some weeks we don't. Some weeks there's a McMahon, most weeks there's none. Some weeks we started with a match, or actually most weeks we started with, because this was essentially the same thing as last night, sans a McMahon person, but then we'd get some of that later on in the evening. So, not that big of a trade-off. That's one thing. But really, I think the most important bit of information that we must glean from here is that is that they're constructing the championship persona character of Kofi Kingston perfectly. He's a babyface champ. He's a fighting champion. He doesn't back down. He wants to prove naysayers wrong, and he's ready to fight. He's ready to fight all the time, and he goes after people. He's not just waiting around for challenges. I remember there were some people on Twitter when he challenged Kevin Owens for the SmackDown, not the SmackDown, but the WWE Championship. People were like, the champion shouldn't be challenging. So there should be a challenger who lays the gauntlet down and the champ answers it. I don't know where that rule comes from, because to me, having your champion call people out, establish himself as a true babyface champ is there's a lot more money in it, to be perfectly honest. It makes a lot more sense to me. And they're doing the Kofi character perfectly. I'm really digging his championship run so far. I'm really, really, really enjoying it. Bunch of people jumping into the chat. I just want to shout them out real quick. Nick Wilkinson is here. Nick, how you doing? Good to see you. CM Phil is here, another friend of the show. Mike Baker's in here. And yeah. I'm glad everyone's here. I'm gonna just take a little sip of water here. It's hot in here. Something fierce. Then I'm like, oh, I should set up a fan. But then no, because then it makes this sound in the microphone. It'd just be like, the whole way through. And I'm not doing the ASMR thing yet. Okay. Next we have Kevin Owens, who's in his car. He said it's his birthday today, so he's going home. He's out to celebrate his birthday. So that's something. Next we have Ali versus Andrade in a full name on a pole match. That's a lie. It didn't happen. That's something. It would have been something. No, we have Mustafa Ali versus Andrade Cien Almas, which is fantastic. We have Mustafa Ali back to doing his street promos, which are fantastic, and they're like nothing else that's being done on main roster right now, and they're all his, and they're perfect, they're lovely, and I love them. Excuse me for a second. I would really appreciate, chat, if you stop making GIFs / memes of me doing stuff with my microphone. Okay? So, Joe Anthony, I got mods, keep your eye on Joe Anthony, he's a rabble rouser. He's trying to stir the pot. Back to Mustafa Ali and his promos, they're fantastic. Zelina Vega comes to the ring with Andrade Cien Almas. Of course, she has a microphone and she cuts a quick promo as well. She's fantastic. Andrade continuing down the path of speaking English, which I am convinced is having him score points backstage. And we get to a match here. Zelina makes a comparison with the Kentucky Derby because they're in Kentucky. I don't know how many people in Kentucky actually do. I don't know how many people still actually watch the Kentucky Derby. Like, it seems to me when I was a kid, it was a big deal. Now it feels like today. It feels like today the Kentucky Derby is like a tertiary event. I don't know. It just feels that way. So I would like Zelina Vega to not necessarily have to reference it, but she does nonetheless. Talking about thoroughbreds. Anywho, let's get to the match. Mustafa versus Andrade, which starts with the super kick by Mustafa Ali. Kick to Andrade, who falls to the outside. Ali goes for a springboard off the barricade, but Zelina distracts him, and that allows Mustafa Ali to get swept off the barricade, just as he was going to springboard off of it. By, of course, your man, Almas. Back from commercial, Almas is going up top, but Ali interrupts him. Some shenanigans ensue, and a wobbly Spanish fly occurs. And I was like, oh, okay, we're getting warmed up here. Looking forward to the rest of the match. But no, the spoiler, Randy Orton, the guy who doesn't want us to have fun, who doesn't want us to have good matches. He just like comes in and he RKOs everyone. Well, actually, he attacks Mustafa from behind. Then he tries for the draping DDT on Almas. Zelina distracts him, which allows Andrade to wiggle out of it and kick Orton. Then Mustafa Ali kicks him. Then Mustafa Ali he's getting fired up and he's looking at Orton. He's like, I'm not afraid of you. Come on, man. You come after me. Orton goes for an RKO. It's blocked. And Ali then unloads on Randy Orton. Ali runs the ropes, but then gets a pop-up RKO for his troubles. Andrade flies off the top rope, and he himself chews on an RKO. And Randy Orton is there in the middle of the ring, having RKO'd everyone. I mean, what else are you going to expect from Randy Orton at this point in his career? I'm okay with this. I am absolutely okay. I will say, though, I kind of miss the fan favorite killer angle that he had. You know, the one with Jeff Hardy in the ear, you know. I kind of miss that. That was a little too bad. I think I'm going to have a talk with my mods after this. Colton in the chat says, I am not a fan of Ali versus Andrade only getting 30 seconds of TV time without a commercial involved. That is true. And especially for us Canadians where we don't get the picture-in-picture, so we didn't see most of the match. But, I mean, this is just, we're going to come back to this well eventually. Ali versus Almas, are you kidding me? That is, that's an inevitability. And when they uncork, it's going to be a good one. We get a lengthy Roman Reigns career recap video. I'd like to talk about Roman Reigns for a second. What are they doing? What are they doing? They're doing they're doing everything wrong that they did with Roman the first time. No one in WWE realized that Roman's illness, as tragic as it was not his illness. Let me start over again. No one in WWE realized that his remission from his illness, his return to the ring, was essentially a do-over. This was the point where they could look, everything that happened with Roman Reigns in the past and didn't work, we now, right now, have the chance to do something else with him, and people will gobble it up. Why? Because he has the sympathy of the audience. He is perceived right now as a true hero. We see him as a human being, so he's relatable. And that has always been Roman's problem. They tried to make Roman relatable. Now, bringing him down to his most human basic component, I have a life-threatening injury, or I had a life-threatening injury, and I overcame it. That's a story everyone can identify with. Everyone can get on that level and get behind. You had to be probably one of the most callous people in the world to have not been moved by the Roman Reigns situation, the story, him having to step away to fight his leukemia and then his return. What has WWE been doing for the past couple of months now that he's properly returned? Put him in a position where he's in these feuds where he's going to win. Putting him against the authority of the WWE, as if we haven't seen him do this before. It's yeah, exactly. It's as if we never saw him do this before. Fight up against the McMahons. Be an underdog. They're trying to do the underdog thing again. He's not an underdog. I've said this before and I'll say it again. You're not 6'8", built like a football player and looking like a goddamn movie star. That doesn't make you an underdog. Daniel Bryan worked as an underdog because Daniel Bryan looked like everyone else. He was relatable. That's not what Roman is. You don't put Romans in feuds where you know he's going to win. And you don't start over pushing him again. You don't start driving him down our throats again. Now, I'm not saying that his story is not inspiring and that it should not be told. But a 3-minute video, or at least it felt like, I think it was 3, it felt like 5, going over his career where he's only really been back a couple of months, where it's like we're revisiting all the Shield stuff that keeps being repeated week after week. We get revisited with the leukemia, and where again it's just constantly repeated over and over again. This is not how you're going to get Roman over. This is exactly the problem. This is exactly what WWE was doing before. It's going to turn against him again. And then WWE will be, well, no, this is the guy we want to put forward. This is our man. This is the guy who's going to carry the company, but no one wants to see him. We're back to square one. They're doing all the same mistakes. And I want Roman Reigns to succeed. I want all wrestlers to succeed. But if you're going to put Roman in the position where he has to carry the company, where he's supposed to be a figurehead, put him in situations where he's relatable, likable, not less Roman Reigns, more Joe Anoa'i. That's the trick. When Joe Anoa'i was in the ring with his man bun and he had to relinquish the title and then came back again with his man bun and said, "I'm in remission, y'all." That's the guy. He was loose and natural and fine. Now WWE is back to pushing him down our throats. And this is not going to end well. We're going to be exactly at the same spot. And it fascinates me because this guy had a chance, or at least WWE had a chance with this guy to make amends for their past mistakes. It's so weird. It's really, really strange. And it kind of breaks my heart, to be perfectly honest. Let me see here. Oh, Shane Haas is in the chat. How you doing, Shane? Welcome back. And Carlos as well. Sports and Things Show. Good to see you guys. Shane agrees with me, actually. He says, yes, I want Joe Anoa'i. I want him with the Usos. Wishful thinking, but that would be cool. CM Phil says either let him be himself or just lean into the Chosen One stuff like they did with Charlotte. No one is buying the anti-authority Roman. And if you're going to, I agree. And if you're going to lean into the Charlotte stuff, then what do you do with Roman Reigns? You have him turn heel. You just have him turn heel. Mike Baker says Roman honestly looks more like a heel than anything else when he goes douchebag. He's fantastic. And here's the thing. Just to bounce off of that. When you're doing your 3-minute video recap on Roman's career, don't overemphasize moments that people hated the booking. Like when he defeated, when he retired, allegedly, The Undertaker. Everybody hated that. Why would you bring that back? It's like, It's more, even in the most, the casual fan who doesn't like Roman is like, oh yeah, I remember that. I like Undertaker. I hate Roman Reigns. Just let Roman have a good time. And this is the last part of my rant, I promise. We'll be moving on, folks. I know some of you are excited for me to move on. These 3-minute packages for Roman are unnecessary. Why aren't you doing 3-minute packages for Finn Balor or for Bayley or for who else, chat? Who outside of Roman deserves a 3-minute package just to build new superstars? We know that's the problem that WWE is in right now. That's why, definitely one of the reasons why they're doing the wild card thing, to be able to swap stars from one brand to the other, because they don't have enough stars. They haven't been building enough stars. Give us 3 minutes where we can see the humanity behind other stars than just Roman. Give us, like I said, give us the Bayley one. Bayley would benefit tremendously from it. Or Buddy Murphy. By the way, thank you, CM Phil. Where the hell is Buddy Murphy? Where's Buddy Murphy? Oh, the wild card will have Raw guys on SmackDown and SmackDown guys on Raw. But there's SmackDown guys we're not even using. There's people that you took out of 205 Live. You took Cedric Alexander and Buddy Murphy, and you're doing jack shit with them. They would have been much better off just staying on 205 Live at this stage. My God. I swear, you guys, there's so much stuff here that is just, it's fly transparent like it is since yesterday, since Monday, how transparent and how flyby it is. That's when it becomes really frustrating. That's really, really when it becomes super frustrating. Carlos says Murphy is in witness protection. Like, Kristen Ashley, no one appreciated your joke. What was the joke here? Let me go up here. In the chat says, no woman deserves a 3-minute package. Oh, because I appreciate that joke. Because I was talking about a video package, but she thought I meant something else. Shane McMahon comes out next because, again, this is a great use of talent. Shane McMahon says that he was attacked last night on Raw in a brutal and cowardly fashion by Miz, but the Miz isn't going to get the job done at Money in the Bank when they're in the steel cage match. You know what? I'm actually looking forward to this match. I think it should be fun. Shane says that he put a lot of thought into finding a deserving tag team because he's out there to announce who is going to be the next SmackDown Live Tag Team Champions, because as you may recall, the titles were vacated last week by the Hardy Boys after being attacked by Lars Sullivan. And that's, of course, the kayfabe reason. The legit reason is because Jeff Hardy is going in for surgery. So they had to drop the titles last week. And now Shane McMahon is ready to introduce the people, the team, who he's going to hand the SmackDown Tag Team titles to. And they are none other than Daniel Bryan and Eric Rowan. And I'm okay with that. I'm down with that. It wasn't on their silly graphic that they had used to promote this segment here. I thought this was fine. It's actually good. I think it's, Daniel Bryan comes with a certain level of credibility, so it already adds to the prestige, I guess, or the status of you that he and Rowan are chasees, not chasers. So that's good, and it'll give Daniel Bryan something to do. It'll give him something to do here. Oops, apologies. There we go. So they come out to accept the titles, but the Usos music hits and they come to the ring. There we go. Wild cards. Apparently, I'd say tag teams count as 3 when you look at what happens later on. But they come to the ring and they're like, hold on a second. They're coming to the ring. And Shane McMahon is in the ring and he says, wait a minute, hang on. You guys are from Raw. What are you guys doing here? And I'm like, Jesus Christ, Shane. It's your dad who came up with this plan. Haven't you been paying attention? You're corporate in this family, in this company. What the hell, Shane? Jesus. What are you guys doing here? Wild card. Christ. Anyway, the Usos say that they work too hard to build the division and that these titles need to be earned. Running down a bit of the lineage, the recent lineage of the titles anyway, saying that everyone who's won these titles has earned them. They talked about the Bar, they talked about the New Day. They didn't talk about Rhino and Heath Slater, who are actually the first SmackDown Live tag team champions. I'm just tossing that out there because apparently Rhino is not re-signing. Good for him. I don't know if you heard about that. You can find that report over on Fightful.com. Anyway, he says the titles need to be earned, and then he compares the Usos then compare Daniel Bryan and Eric Rowan to 3 Nickelodeon. No, not Nickelodeon. One of them is not. 3 cartoon. 2 of them. Come to think of it. 3 cartoon duos. And Chad, I want you to let me know who you think is which of these 3 duos is most appropriate to represent Daniel Bryan and Eric Rowan. The Usos compared them to SpongeBob and Patrick, to Ren and Stimpy, and to Beavis and Butthead. Now, I have my choice. Chad, I want you to let me know. But I myself have I have my picks. I have my pick, and I don't want to taint you guys. But anyway, the match is made, and the Usos they're on Raw, but they're going to challenge for the SmackDown titles to try and win the SmackDown titles. Wait a minute, in the chat you're talking about Pinky and the Brain? No, guys, it doesn't work. Or does it? No, it doesn't work. Because, look, the Brain was smart. Pinky was a moron. But Eric Rowan's not a moron. He's Daniel Bryan says it himself, he's his intellectual peer. So they have to both be on the same level. So there we go. Joe Anthony says Invader Zim and Gurr. Maybe. All right, we'll get back to this in a second. So we'll talk about the match here, which was actually my favorite match of SmackDown Live tonight. I thought this was pretty fun. But then again, you have a tag team match and the Usos are involved in it. The Usos continue to show why they are currently one of the best tag teams in the world right now. There's some arm lust to begin, but Jimmy and Jay early on get some double team elbows in on Daniel Bryan, who gets covered for 2. Jimmy tries to knock down Rowan, but he runs the ropes and eats a boot instead. He gets slammed by Rowan. Big body splash follows, covers Jimmy, but only gets 2. Daniel Bryan and Eric Rowan do an assisted corner drop kick, followed by an avalanche by Rowan, covers Jimmy Uso once again, but he kicks out once again at 2. Jimmy tries to fight off the heels, runs the ropes, but eats a flying crossbody by Eric Rowan, if you want to believe that. Back from commercial, Bryan drop kicks Jay into the knee, follows by some yes kicks. Bryan then rolls Jay up as Jimmy tags himself in. Bryan doesn't realize that the tag has been made, and he eats a super kick. He gets covered for 2. Jimmy is off the top rope, but Bryan kind of catches Jimmy into the label lock. There was a bit of miscommunication there, but well recovered. Bryan rolls him back to the middle of the ring, but Jimmy gets Bryan into a pin situation. Into his pin situation, which then forces Bryan to break up the pin, and that's immediately followed by a big super kick by Jimmy, who eventually gets the hot tag to Jay. He flies up, gets caught by Rowan, and sets him up into a suplex, but that's reversed. Jay wriggles out of it. Jay follows in with some kicks. Jimmy is in next and super kicks, while Jay is caught in the global palming, what they call the Iron Claw, but that's not a good name. Shane Haas with the good name here. The global palming. Double super kicks on Rowan follow. Jimmy goes off the top with the splash. He covers Rowan for 2.9. And honestly, guys, I thought it was done. That 2.9 was razor thin. The Usos go for the double oos, or their double splashes, and it's interrupted as Bryan shoves Jimmy off the top rope. The heels end up on the outside, and they eat double dives by the Usos. Well, they don't eat because Rowan catches both of the Usos. Bryan then hits a running knee. Rowan plants Uso into the barricade. Eventually, Jay gets back into the ring, super kicks Rowan, but that's not enough. The global palming on Jay happens. And your new SmackDown Tag Team Champions are Daniel Bryan and Eric Rowan. That's fantastic. Well, we are going off on tangents here as far as cartoon duos go. I would say that despite the fact, and this contradicts my opinion on Pinky and the Brain, and you can call me out as a hypocrite for it, but I think that Ren and Stimpy are actually the best comparison between the 3 that were pulled up by the Usos. But we have some other choices here in the chat. We got Rocky and Bullwinkle. We have Yogi Bear and Boo Boo. And CM Phil's like, hey, Boo Boo, you want to recycle and have some vegan pizza? Vegan pizza? Dexter and Mandark, that's pretty funny. That's pretty funny, actually. Dexter and Mandark by Mike Baker. I dig that. That's what I can really get behind. Boris and Natasha as well. Kristen, that's good. Mike Wazowski and Sully, that's pretty good. Colton in the chat says, can we have a moment of appreciation for Eric Rowan? And yes, we should. That guy is, I think he's underrated as far as big men go. Plus, he's been injured so much, and he keeps coming back, and he's a guy that he's a company guy. They just tell him, look, we're gonna break you away from the Wyatt family, and you're gonna keep doing the weird goat mask. Okay. And he does it for a while, then we don't see him, and then you're gonna come back with your old with not Eric, but Luke Harper, and you're gonna keep wearing your goofy mask, and you're gonna carry LARPing mallets with you. And you go, okay. Then he gets injured, and he comes back, and you're gonna wear beer metal T-shirts and accompany Daniel Bryan to the ring, and you're gonna be his intellectual peer. Okay. I appreciate Eric Rowan. Want to shout out Bob Aruski, who's just joined us in the chat. Bob. So, we also learned that Finn Balor is not at SmackDown tonight. He's in Ireland because they have a show in Belfast, I think. Then we have Shane McMahon, who sticks around because he has another announcement. Because, goddamn, aren't we blessed? Isn't that what we have? That's what we want out of our wrestling. We want more McMahons. It's starting to feel more. You know, everyone has always said, gosh darn it, I wish the Attitude Era would come back. Well, holy smokes, man. We're getting just about as much McMahon storyline involvement as we did back then these days. It's starting to feel like the Attitude Era all over again. God bless the Attitude Era and all its fantastic contributions to wrestling. Let's just remember all the good stuff and not the shit. But so basically, Shane has another announcement. It has something to do with the Money in the Bank ladder matches, but did anyone catch it? I didn't, because Miz attacked him from behind, starts beating Shane up the ramp. Then the B team come out, and they go after Miz, which allows Miz fights back against his former Miztourage buddies, which was cool because it was cool because the commentary acknowledged the Miztourage thing, which is something they absolutely could have just tossed aside, but no, they acknowledged it. The segment comes to an end when Shane cracks Miz across the back with a chair a couple of times. That comes to an end, and backstage, Daniel Bryan and Eric Rowan are happy that they got the titles, and Bryan snidely says, we just got to do something about these leather straps, which I think is funny. I want my hemp titles. I want hemp titles back, or else we riot if we don't get the hemp titles. And they had this really, really, really awkward stare down with Heavy Machinery. And I really have the impression that Otis had a line. I really do. Because it was the longest pause. And there was nothing happening. And at some point, Tucker Knight, he leaned into him and he started saying something in his ear. And it was very, very low. You couldn't hear what he was saying. It wasn't just like your usual, we're going to beat these guys, this is our title, kind of thing where you'd say maybe on this tone of voice. You'd be like, we're going to beat these guys, these titles are ours. No, he was very, very silent. I'm convinced Otis choked. Sure of it. CM Phil calls the B team posse. The B Street posse. Next, we have a card subject to change match. We were supposed to get a 6-woman tag team match between Ember Moon, Carmella, and Bayley versus Mandy Rose, Sonya Deville, and Charlotte Flair. Instead, we just get a tag team match with Ember Moon and Carmella versus Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville. Carmella hits a head scissors on Sonya Deville. Sonya spears Carmella down, covers her, but gets 2. Ember Moon comes in, takes Mandy down, follow a slam, follows on Mandy, hip attack on the corner, springboard cross body, goes for the cover, but the pin is broken up by Deville. Moon then dives onto Sonya onto the outside. She gets blindsided by a pump knee from Mandy Rose. Back in the ring, Mandy hits the double underhook sit-out facebuster for the win. I don't care what you say, guys. The pump knees are great, and her finisher is much more effective than 3 blue thunder bombs. I like Mandy's finisher, and it requires a certain amount of skill to pull it off, because it's not just a double. She's doing the sit out, and she has to be very, very careful of her opponent when she does that. Anyway, Paige's music hits. She comes out with her new proteges, Asuka and Kairi Sane. She starts calling out Deville and Rose, hearkening back to their past. Yes, I used to represent you people, but I don't anymore. She calls them trollops, which got a pop out of your boy Warren. And she says she's traded up, and she challenges Mandy and Sonya to a match next week against Kairi and Asuka. That should be fun. I am all about putting Sonya Deville in a ring with Asuka as many times as possible. I am 100% behind that. Again, it's a shame that this is all they could do with the women's division tonight. I get not a knock on Mandy or Sonya, not at all. It's just that everything has been reduced to like matches that feel like segments, that don't construct anything, that aren't elevating anyone. There are ways to build matches and build your women where everyone will benefit, and having a quick 3-minute match, 4-minute match here didn't do anything for Carmella, didn't do anything for Ember Moon. This is very, very frustrating. And then you have other women on this in this division. Mickie James is on SmackDown Live. Remember that? Liv Morgan. Remember that? She's there too. Where the hell is Nikki Cross? I talked about this a bit last night, and I'm just going to bear reminding. I think it bears to be reminded just one more time. I feel now that WWE is doing their women's division a disservice, and they are not taking care of their women. They're reducing their presence, reducing their role. They may think that they're super progressive and cool, and having given society this great boon, this fantastic gift of a WrestleMania main event with women, Becky Lynch being the main attraction of the company. Maybe they think this is fantastic, but it's all smoke and mirrors. It's not. They haven't been doing a good job with the women's division. They just haven't. And it pains me because right now, I feel that this is trickling down to the NXT brands. And NXT UK, within the entire company, arguably has the most stacked women's division in all of WWE. Do I have to run down the names again? I don't have to, but I'm going to do it again. Toni Storm, Rhea Ripley, Piper Niven, Nina Samuels, Ginny, Kaylee Ray, Charlie Morgan, even though she's injured, they haven't been using her properly. Xia Brookside. These are all extraordinary women. These are A-game women that they have all bundled up there. Holy crap. It just worries me. I don't know. Shout out to Metal 2006 for joining the chat. Backstage, Matt Hardy is giving us an update on Jeff's surgery. It went well. It was successful. He'll be back better, faster, cleaner, smoother, stronger, faster, nicer, handsomer, paintier, purpler. R-Truth then arrives. R-Truth says that he tried to forget about Lars Sullivan, but he forgot about Lars Sullivan because he was trying to not remember him. Anyway, this all ends up with Lars Sullivan basically appearing out of nowhere behind Matt and behind Matt and R-Truth, and he beats the shit out of them both, and he drives Truth through a table. All right, that's good. Next, we have Alistair Black with some more exposition. I'm an Alistair Black guy. Been an Alistair Black since he debuted on NXT. I've loved the guy. I've been a big fan. When he was called up, I was terrified because I wanted him to stay in the nice little neat NXT bubble for forever, where he would be used to his full potential. And then he came up with the tag team pairing with Ricochet. And I was like, you know what? This is working. It's working for both Ricochet and Alistair. They're over. They got over really, really fast as a tag team. We got to know them together. And now they did the right thing and split them up because there wasn't much more for them left to do as a tag team. So just let them go off as single stars. But why are we having these exposition moments with Alistair Black where his promos kind of sound like recycled Bray Wyatt stuff? Alistair Black got over in NXT without saying a goddamn word. Remember that? Remember the first time he actually spoke a word was when he finally defeated Velveteen Dream and he finally said Dream's name. That was the first time he said anything. Why do we need to establish like these convoluted introvert reasons? It's like, oh, I'm going to get the wins out of you, and the blackness and the abyss. And Alistair Black doesn't need that. Alistair Black has a look, and he has a mystique with his entrance, his music. Let him come in. Let him hit roundhouse kicks, spinning heel kicks. Let him black mask the shit out of everyone. That's all they need to do. Don't need to sit Alistair Black in front of a camera in Bray Wyatt universe and have him tell us why he's like this. It's not a show. It's a show don't tell kind of situation when it comes to Black. That's how I feel. But then again, I look on the other side and I'm like, well, seeing how they're forgetting Liv and Mickie James and Buddy Murphy, Shelton Benjamin. I'm like, well, you know what? At least he's on TV. But I don't know why they're stunting the heat that he got in the tag team with Ricochet. I don't know why they're stunting it by cooling it down, having him cut promos instead of continuing week after week doing matches exactly like they're doing with Ricochet. Ricochet's not winning all of his matches, but he's in matches, and he's exciting, he's fun, and that's how people are getting to know him for his in-ring ability. And Black can do the same thing. Colton says, are we getting Bray Wyatt versus Alistair Black? I hope they hold off on that one for a while. We probably will. But anyway, we'll see what happens with Bray Wyatt, because right now it's just a lot of fun what he's doing right now. Blaine says Black's training clips on Instagram are badass, and they are. Mike Baker feels that the heel turn is incoming. So does CM Phil. God, I hope not. You guys are all in agreement that there's a heel turn incoming, and I really hope not. Main event time. Kofi versus Sammy versus AJ. Thank you, Wild Cards, for setting this match up that has Has no repercussions really on what's going to happen at Money in the Bank, but will have repercussions, and does have repercussions, on Kofi Kingston's character. So there's some posturing to start between all three participants to begin with. AJ goes right in with some strikes. He knocks Sammy out of the ring. Hits a springboard, or Kofi Kingston hits a springboard drop kick on Styles, covers him, but only gets one. There's a knee to the face that follows a flapjack slam, body slam by, or splash, I should say. It's more of a splash than a slam. By Kofi. Covers it, only gets two again. Sammy gets back in the ring, but he eats a drop kick. Sami Zayn is going to spend the better part of the first part of the match on the outside. Sammy then is back in the ring. He eats a drop kick. I just said that. And he rolls back outside, and I just said that. Styles shoulder blocks Kofi in the corner. Hits an over to the knee backbreaker, but AJ gets rolled up by surprise by Kofi Kingston, and AJ kicks out. With the Kofi then hits a big frog splash onto Styles, who's on all fours. You know, when Kofi lands on the back. Oh, that didn't look good on AJ's knee, did it? Did you guys see that? Ooh. That wasn't pretty. That did not look nice. I hope he's okay. He was able to work the rest of the match, but AJ's worked hurt before. I hope everything's okay with this. That wasn't pretty. And Kofi covered AJ Styles for 2.9, but I mean, you know, it's just, still got a bit of a shiver there. Didn't look good. Zayn whips Kofi into the corner, but he gets drilled by Styles, and Sammy is tossed back to the outside. Kingston does the double leg drop on AJ Styles. Trouble in Paradise is interrupted by Zayn, who's on the outside. Then he trips Styles on the apron, and Sammy then gets a bit in control. Back from commercial, Kofi is chopping Sammy, but eats a sit-out powerbomb by Zayn, who covers Kofi for 2.9. Later on, Sammy and Kofi get some top rope shenanigans going, and a superplex by Zayn follows, covers the champ, but only gets two. And now Styles and Zayn are up top, but Styles tries to get out of it, manages to get out of it, smacks Sammy right across the face, and hits a Frankensteiner on Zayn. So if Styles' leg is hurting, if his knee's busted up, he's hiding it real well. There's a neck breaker on Kofi that follows. Styles has Zayn in a DDT. And then Styles sets Kofi up to neck break him, but Kofi reverses out of it and hits the SOS. And as he's hitting the SOS, AJ takes Sami Zayn down with him in a DDT. So that was pretty cool. All three men are out at this point. They struggle back to their feet. Kofi and Styles are trying to go after each other. Styles hits a Pele kick, goes for the phenomenal forearm, but it's interrupted. And a Trouble in Paradise sends AJ Styles to the floor. But at this point, Kevin Owens runs in from the audience and takes out Xavier Woods. That distracts Kofi long enough for Sammy to hit a Blue Thunder Bomb. He covers Kofi, but Kofi kicks out at 2.9. Kofi is pissed off. He picks... not Kofi. Sammy is pissed off. He picks Kofi up again, hits another Blue Thunder Bomb, covers the champ, who kicks out at 2.9. But then Sami Zayn, he's sure he's got him this time, picks Kofi up again, another Blue Thunder Bomb, but Kofi kicks out at 2.9 again. Sammy tosses Kofi into the corner, runs in allegedly for the haluva kick. We'll never know, because Kofi delivers the Trouble in Paradise, and that's a win. Whew. I'm going to tell you one thing here that's got to happen. Sami Zayn has got to have a deep, profound reflection he has to think about. his use of the Blue Thunder Bomb as a semi-finisher, because that is the most ineffective shit that's it. Match is over. Wrestling, folks. Who knows how this works? CM Phil says that that Trouble in Paradise AJ8 on the apron was dope. And it was. Mike Baker says the fact that Kofi killed the Blue Thunder Bomb in one night is brutal, but I'm exaggerating. I don't think he killed the Blue Thunder Bomb. Au contraire, it's a big spectacular move, and it hasn't been Sammy's real finisher for a while. It has been the haluva kick. It's been more of a transition mode. Not since he was in NXT has the Blue Thunder Bomb been his finisher. But no, I think I'm exaggerating. You know, I'm putting this all on bad booking. It's not bad booking. This is part of the story that they were telling about Kofi tonight, where Kofi is resilient. He's a strong champion. He can kick out of 3 big moves in a row and still win the match. You know, they're doing such a fantastic job. And we got to take a moment here. We got to take the time, folks, to just sit back and give WWE props when they do things properly. They're doing things properly with Kofi Kingston. They're not dropping the ball. They're doing a good job. Kofi's coming across as a primo champ, and we have to be happy about that. Yes, they may have stumbled about it by accidentally. Maybe they didn't plan for Kofi Kingston to be the champ that he is. And that doesn't matter. You know what? All the more power to them to have run with it. To me, it's even double good job, WWE, on this front. They're doing a great job. They're doing a great job with Kofi, and I hope his reign is long and good. As good as it is now, they're doing a fantastic job. So that was SmackDown tonight. Bit of an uneven episode, but you know, I think I'm annoyed with the wild card thing, because I don't think it's going to do either brand a service. So I'm going to be upfront with y'all. It tainted me a bit tonight. I think it tainted my appreciation of what I saw. I really thought the tag team match was the SmackDown tag team title match was the best match of the show. The main event was fun, but it's not the SmackDown that we've grown to love and snuggle over the past few months since the start of 2019. Not really. But anyway, I'm really glad, nonetheless, that all of you stuck around here for so long here this evening, here live on youtube.com/Mr. Warren Hayes. And if you haven't already, give the video a thumbs up. I really appreciate it. If you're listening to this on demand, you can still give the thumbs up. You can still share the video out. It's still fantastic, and I still appreciate you. I want to thank everyone for joining me, and I want to thank everyone who's listening in on podcast applications. Don't forget, Fightful Select tomorrow evening for my 205 Live NXT UK recap show. And on Thursday, we're going to be talking about New Japan, Best of the Super Juniors with Anthony Suter and JPQ, Jonathan Pilquist, over on the Smart to Death YouTube channel, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, youtube.com/Smart to Death. So guys, again, we're going to put a bow on it. I want to thank everyone for showing up this evening and listening. And I'll see you next time.